Christian Pulisic is obviously under a ton of pressure this World Cup. And Jake, Christian Pulisic, he is our best player. He's kind of been the golden boy for years now. He hasn't been producing in this last year the way you would expect him to. And so a lot of the pundits and I think a lot of his coaches, players, casual fans would say that there's just a lot riding on his shoulders. And I think that came through last night, meaning it was clear to me that Christian Pulisic had a chip on his shoulder. And I think the best explanation of this, or the best window into this, is there was a play at the end of the first half where Germany has the ball, they're swinging the ball around the back. The U.S. is actually sitting deep. They're not even really pressing. And Pulisic kind of goes on this just solo defensive run where he sprints at, I think it was Kimmich, kind of grittily steals the ball from him, pokes it out, starts a counterattack, starts bursting down the center of the field. And the right soccer move would have been for him to steal the ball, take the ball forward 10 yards, and then pass it to, I think it was maybe Pepe, who was coming around the left side. But Pulisic kept it for himself, did a little move and shot it, ended up getting deflected and go out of bounds. And I think the reason that was significant when I was watching was he has like the grit and like, I got to prove myself. Let me go win this ball. Great. But then there needs to be a little bit less of I have to do this myself, and more of a poise and a calmness, which it's just a double-edged sword. Like the pressure he feels to perform, the great part about that is he stole the ball on a solo press, grit, hustle. And then the downside of that is he tried to do it himself when he should have just passed it off. So that's one other thing that I think we should be keeping an eye on over the next couple of weeks as the World Cup kicks into gear here. I don't know if either of you have anything else to add on the Pulisic point, but that was one thing that stood out to me about him specifically.
Yeah, I think Pulisic, I think we've talked about some question marks with the U.S. squad. He is not one of them for me because, like you said, I think he has a chip on the shoulder, and I think he's going to rise to the occasion. I'm really, really pleased with how Pulisic has played. I think he's been our best player in the last two games against Senegal and Germany, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is our best player in the World Cup. He always rises to the occasion for the U.S. team. And so he's our guy. And I think he is also a guy that people are willing to follow. And I think if everybody on the U.S. team can match his intensity and how he approaches games for the national team, I think we're going to do some damage.
100%. And he needs to be performing at the highest level if we're going to have a chance. And I think he looked good yesterday. I really do. One other doing it well, Brenden Aaronson. I mean, so Brenden Aaronson's a young U.S. men's national team player. But Brenden Aaronson, he's been a U.S. prodigy. He comes off the bench yesterday, and he does exactly what the team needed him to do, which is provide a little spark. He had this beautiful play where he comes up the center, cuts inside, and almost scores a banger. They end up getting a great save. They end up getting a World Cup. But for me, that's a big deal for the U.S. because we need guys who can come off the bench in the 75th minute in a key moment and make a huge pivotal play. And he's that type of guy. Like he's crafty, he's smart. There was another play where he did like a little double step over, had a little cheeky pass in the bottom. Like he's doing it well. He's doing it well, no question.
Yeah. Which I think is really important. I think like him and Pulisic are I think they're the top two guys in the team that are like willing to take on defenders, and they're willing to drive that guys. And they do not care if they lose the ball. They will do it, and they will do it again, and they will do it again until they succeed.
And they'll do it well.
And sometimes they